right, time for a Techthusiasm 2023 wrap-up. I'm going to talk about my top 3 upgrades for the year. So I was able to do quite a lot thanks to the channel, thanks to all of you in 2023, taking my systems far beyond any thought or plan or idea that I actually had in mind starting the year. So thank you all for that. There was a lot of stuff going on. We did theater chairs in the home theater room over there. Got up to 4 subwoofers, adding the SVS SB16s, new amplifiers, new audio processor, in and out of a variety of gaming hardware, upgraded to the Anthem MDX for my whole home audio distribution. I picked up a pair Focal Bathys headphones. Got to play around with the Lumagen for a little while. So the year in review, it was just absolutely fantastic. But after all of that, sitting for a little while thinking about it, what do I feel were the top 3 things that made the most impactful difference in my system, in my spaces, and in my enjoyment of home theater, audio, video, and all of the related pieces. So I'm going to put number 1 is the Audio Advice Revelation chairs. I am just absolutely ecstatic about having real home theater recliner seats in my home theater. To me, with my setup and the way things are, my large screen and all of that stuff, my viewing distance, I never felt comfortable for these last years really sitting on the couch. I think the couch itself was comfortable, but using the couch in the context of my home theater space was not to me. I would usually end up kind of sitting, floating. I didn't feel very supported. It was a lower profile kind of thing, so I was looking more up at my screen. And over the course of a movie, I would find myself just generally either uncomfortable, unsupported, or slouching down and like laying down to the point where I probably was like compromising the experience and the audio. So I had been jonesing for the chairs for quite a while. But man, sitting in those seats, I am so supported. I am up and vertical, up into my screen space, not on the lower profile. My eyes are up into the picture image. I feel like I have a commanding presence, a commanding impact of feeling in front of my screen now and addressing that awesome immersive scope image when I'm watching a movie. My feet are up, my lumbar is inflated, my headrest is forward. I've got places comfortably to put my arms. I can still comfortably wrap up in a blanket. We're in the basement, it's Michigan, often cold down here. My wife is still sitting next to me. In fact, in the chairs as we have them, we're usually actually now sitting closer together than we did before, because she would sit far out on the wing of the couch on a chase and I would kind of migrate more towards the center. We can hold hands and do all of that cute stuff more actively now. And even then, just like walking into the room and seeing that row of chairs, it feels like a cinema room in a way that the couch just didn't do it. So I know this is a little bit of a holy war in home theater, and the other thing that I found is that a lot of folks tend to either want, a lot of folks seem to tend to want the thing that they don't have, meaning they went with the couch or they went with the chairs, and after a little while they're debating, okay, is the grass greener on the other side? Maybe I'm not having the best experience with this in my mind and I want to switch to that. I've seen countless people on both sides of the fence basically crossing over. But I can say for me, absolutely, the grass was greener on the home theater seat side. And for a dedicated space like I have, if I redo it again, rejigger the room, I just couldn't imagine doing anything else. That's not to say that there aren't spaces out there and designs where a couch really does make a lot of sense and may actually be a preferable option over chairs. You really have to make this decision more individually based on the logistics of your space and your goals and your plans and your aesthetics and all of that. But for me, the chairs just absolutely knock it out of the park. It's my number 1 upgrade. I think it really just sets and finishes that room in a way that I've been after for a long time. And the impactfulness, again, of the movie watching experience has been elevated exactly where I wanted it to be. Super happy with those. And hey, I went with the Audio Advices. I love them. Lots of controls. You can turn the lights off, attachments, features, comfortable material, just positive accolades all around. If you're looking for a row or a couple of rows, Audio Advice is a partner, collaborative partner here, business partner on the channel. Follow my affiliate links if you would. Check them out. I think they stack up against a lot of the other brands that are showcased a lot around YouTube. competitively. Put them on your short list. Check them out. All right, number 2 on my list of best upgrades for 2023 is right here. One of them anyway, of course, the NAD Masters Series amplifiers. This is an M23 that runs the 2 Focal in-wall speakers in my living room. And of course, just down below over here is the pair of M28s that run all the theater speakers. When I originally built the theater room, I had gone with Parasound on a recommendation from a friend and integrator that I trust very much. I think the Parasounds were awesome. I think NAD is on a different level. The fit and finish, the aesthetics, features and capabilities, Class D is what I was after. I now have amplifiers that if I have to change some things around in my rack, I can actually do it. I can do it by myself because I can grab and lift and pull these things out and put them in as I need to. Heat really isn't a problem for my space. I'm down here in my basement in a fairly sizable storage room where my rack is. This room has air circulation and plenty of volume just for hot air to dissipate and kind of flow around. But that said, hey, the cooler any of your stuff can run, the better off you probably are in the long run for that in terms of just device operation and longevity. Plenty of power delivery in these amplifiers. Because of doing them how I did them, I was actually able to both reduce and expand my system, meaning I've covered the home theater amplification now in 2 units, 2 amplifiers instead of 3. But breaking out the living room on its own self-contained system now without sharing channels on the same amplifier. I love that aspect of this upgrade. These amplifiers are just dead silent. One of my big challenges with the Parasounds through 2023, I made a bunch of videos and I was really trying to get to the root of it and solve it, was the buzzing noises that I was getting from my speakers, particularly with the A52 Plus Parasound models. I could hear buzzing just nominally sitting in the living room, particularly from the larger Focals, and I was actually getting to the point where I could hear buzzing as well in the theater from the IW6s and other speakers. So for whatever reason, those Focal 1000s and that A52 Plus models, they're not a match. Whether it's a sensitivity thing, a design thing, I don't know what it was, but it was annoying to me, and it was really frustrating to spend all this money on equipment, spend all this time setting things up, go into the room and be turned off essentially by what you hear, like hearing that noise and all of that. With the NADs, everything is quiet, everything is silent. The noise floor is, I mean, I gotta take my ear and peg it really into the into the grill of any of those speakers to hear just the softest little bit of hiss. So absolutely fantastic all around. I've been watching NAD as a brand for quite a while. Again, really drawn to their design sensibility, their aesthetics, the brand prestige, and some other elements like that. Very happy that I was able to work this whole kind of NAD shift. I can't imagine what else I would want to consider for amplifiers within my system going forward. I feel like I've locked this element down. And so, yeah, over the moon with these. And they sound absolutely fantastic. It did take me a little bit to get kind of used. There's a tonality difference there. I feel I heard it. If you put me in a room and blind tested me on some AAB Parasounds to something like this, on speakers that I know and stuff like that, I feel I really felt the tone. Maybe they just needed to break in a little bit as well. So there was a small adjustment period, but I can say right now, I love it. I love the sound in the theater. I love the sound in the living room. It is crisp, it is clean, it is accurate, it is detailed, and the amplifier is just out of the way. It's out of the way of the entire audio experience now, which is exactly really what you want, essentially, out of an amplifier. Can't recommend them enough. If you're interested in something like this, reach out to me. I can help get you in touch with folks and get you hooked up. I love it. I'm so glad that I was able to get this NAD upgrade and make this happen. And number 3, what could it be? What could it be? We're looking a little higher. Yes, we're looking at the gaming PC. I'm reaffirming my commitment to gaming on the PC, similar, I think, to what I did out of 2022, kind of like fully reaffirming my commitment and interest in Kaleidescape. I feel very much the same way at the end of this year about PC gaming versus console. I bought multiple PlayStations, I think, this year, considering or reconsidering a move back to console. But the PC makes the list because we actually made a significant upgrade to the PC at the beginning of the year, at the beginning of 2023. I think it was sometime in Q1. I was able to move from a 3090 to a 4090 GPU. That thing is just an absolute powerhouse. It runs games like butter, running them in the living room on the LG G2 OLED, native 4K, high frame rates, max out a bunch of settings. The only thing I could ask for is a 5090 so that we could really peg everything up at like 120 frames per second. But it's just amazing. It transforms the video game experience with performance and fidelity and quality, and again, the way things run and all of that. And I'm sitting pretty high on my sentiment around gaming and the experience of gaming on the PC right at the moment, because just a few weeks ago, of course, my son and I played and finished and beat Ratchet and Clank. Really fun father-son gaming experience that, aside from like playing Lego games and some other things, that was his real first foray, say, into like beating a full-on action game, action shooter type game. Amongst all of my like home theater, say, audio video entertainment moments of the year, that might be arguably number one, just because we had such a good time doing it together. And doing it on that really kind of set the tone for the experience. I love it, and it's on my 2024 list. Looking forward to the next generation of NVIDIA GPUs, power up the computer, rebuild another one, do it with my son, do some other family gaming along the way. So that has to be my number 3. I just don't think ultimately there's anything, even pro consoles, next generation consoles, there's going to be nothing that they can do to compete against just the sheer horsepower that you can get out of a premium high-end gaming computer. So that's my top 3. As I was going through the process of this, I kind of conceived one thing that I'm going to put in as an honorable mention. Actually, and I forgot to even mention it at the beginning of the video, I think that has to be the Control4 Halo remote. I had been using the Neo remotes for a period of time there. I think the Neo was absolute trash. It was my Neos were unreliable. They had image retention and ghosting on the screens. That remote, the Neo, was like not a very sturdy design at all. It was slow. I think it was terrible. Quite honestly, it was a bad release, a bad generation of remote controls from Control4. This year, the Halos came out. I got to play with both the touch and the non-touch initially. Decided to go with the touch. And for me, the touch has actually, even in the living room, generally replaced using the Apple TV remote again. I was to the point where I didn't even want to use the Neos. I was working around them. But the Halo Touch is back kind of firmly in my hand when I use my entertainment spaces. It's my go-to in the living room. I did only buy one, so when we use the theater, I grab the Halo Touch from upstairs and I just carry it downstairs, change the room to the theater, and away we go. I didn't see the merit of spending another like $1,000 just to have a very expensive remote sit on a charger in a room that we may nominally use like once a week or so. I think that was a good decision in and of itself as well. But this does have to make the list as an honorable mention. One of the reasons that I consider it only an honorable mention and not like cleanly in the list itself is I think the Halo still has some room for improvement. There's still some other features that need to be added. The battery life, it's basically a one-day battery life type of remote. Got to make sure that that thing ends up on the charger every night. I would very much love to be able to just leave it on the coffee table for a week and not have to go in and out of the closet where I keep it, where I keep the charger. To get it, that would be a nice usability improvement if they can continue to improve the battery life. So that Halo is just so much better than the Neo. I had to include it because it has had such a net positive impact on the enjoyment of using my systems and using both of my spaces. So that's my top stuff. That's not to say that the other things haven't been awesome as well. I've really loved having the SB16s in the room for subwoofers. I think the AVM90 was a tangible upgrade to the AVM70. I love having all Anthem with the MDX in the system. I did return the Bathies, actually, so the headphones were no way whatsoever going to make this list. I do feel that they were actually really fantastic headphones. I just came to the realization through the experience of owning them for a little while that I'm not a headphone person. Just not a category of audio device that I'm really interested in using very much at all. So a pretty banner year for Techthusiasm in 2023. Sound off in the comments. Let me know, what do you think about my list? Were you surprised by what made it? Maybe by what didn't make it? And any of the reasons by which I was kind of evaluating what I put on it versus what I didn't. Of course, these are just my opinions. And again, I was looking for the things that I felt had like the most impactful, difference on enjoying home theater, enjoying audio video based entertainment for me. Share in the comments as well. What are your top upgrades, evolutions, and improvements to your home theater setups and spaces in 2023? I'm curious to hear what everybody else has to say as well. Otherwise, please do all that regular YouTube stuff. Like, subscribe, hit the bell, share the video. And if you'd like to support the channel, lots of ways to do that in the descriptions. Primarily shop with my affiliates, please. Audio Advice, Amazon, and others. And if you feel so inclined, leave a tip, PayPal, Venmo, or a super thanks directly on YouTube. Thanks so much for watching. Come on back for more home theater discussion and fun.